Hello everyone and welcome back. Part 2 of Joseph. When we left off last week, his brothers had thrown him in a pit and they were contemplating what to do, but they decided to sell him to a caravan that was on its way to Egypt. And then they just tore the sleeves from his coat, covered them in some goat's blood, took him back to his father. And his father cried and they said an animal must have gotten him. So the brothers are keeping a secret from Dad, but the dad, Jacob, believes what they have told him. Now, Joseph's on his way to Egypt. Joseph is sold as a slave to a family, and he doesn't do exactly what the wife wants him to do, so he ends up, and here's the picture, in prison. So he's in there for a right good while, and he's alone for a while. And then one day, here comes one, they throw a man in there, and then the next day or two another one comes. The first one was the Pharaoh's baker. The second guy was the Pharaoh's cup maker or wine maker. Now, they sat there, and of course, you know, you're in a cell and you don't have anything else to do, you talk and stuff. And so they began to talk about, they had dreams, and Joseph said, well, I have dreams and I sort of know how to interpret them because my God helps me. What are your dreams? So the baker's dream was that he had baked a bunch of bread and he was carrying it to the Pharaoh, and birds descended on it and pecked the bread, and it was all gone. Joseph thought, The cup maker or the wine maker, his dream was that he was picking grapes and squeezing them into Pharaoh's cup, and then he handed the cup to Pharaoh to taste. So what does it mean? Joseph said to the baker, unfortunately, I have bad news. Your dream means that you will not be saved, and something that's not very good will happen to you. However, to the winemaker, the cup maker, that means Pharaoh's going to forgive you and release you, and you're going to be back. Well, guess what? It was true. Pharaoh did away with the baker, and the wine taster or the winemaker was released from jail and went back into Pharaoh's house. But he promised Joseph that he would not forget him, that he would remember Joseph. Now, in the meantime, Pharaoh is having dreams, and I'm showing you the pictures so you can see them. Look at those pictures. He dreamed they're very strange dreams. 7 heavy or fat cows and 7 skinny cows. And the skinny cows, okay, boys and girls, listen, ate up the fat cows. And they still stayed skinny. Interesting. And the other dream, he saw 7 healthy corn plants and then 7 dried up corn plants. Pharaoh was very confused and upset, and he kept having the same dreams every single night, and it was making him not sleep. And all these people came in. They pulled all the wise men of Egypt in, and they all were trying to consult and figure out the dreams. And then all of a sudden, the wine taster heard them talking, and he remembered Joseph. And he said to the Pharaoh, when I was in prison, I met a man named Joseph, and he interpreted my dream and told me that I would be free in 3 days, and it came true. And Pharaoh was intrigued and interested and said, is he still in prison? And the wine taster said, I think so. And so they went and got Joseph and brought Joseph back in front of the Pharaoh. And here is the picture of Joseph in front of Pharaoh. And Pharaoh told him his dreams, and this is Joseph interpreted the dreams. For 7 years, we will have an abundance and plentiful amount of food. And then for 7 years following, the land will become dry, a drought will ensue, and we will have hardly any food will grow. It will be scarce and hard to find. And Pharaoh said, what will happen. And Joseph said, you need to find a wise man and a smart man and a man you can trust to help you during the 7 good years and help store and take care of the overabundance, the surplus of grain, and save it for the 7 years that are to come. And Pharaoh says, I see the wise man and the man I can trust standing in front of me. And at that moment, Joseph was no longer a slave. He was Pharaoh's right-hand man. Wow, boys and girls. He went from being thrown in a pit, they told his father he was dead. He was sold as a slave, worked as a slave for years, and then thrown into prison. And now he's out of prison, and now he's second in command to Pharaoh, who's head of all of Egypt. And Joseph is going to be in charge of making sure that they save enough grain for the 7 years that follow when no rain comes and they have a drought. And so we stop our story here today for part 3 of what happens when the 7 drought years come, and what happens to the land, and what happens to the people. And before I close, I want to show you, this is the word we're learning. Reconciliation. To forgive someone who has done something against you. Is that a hard thing to do, boys and girls? I wonder. Is it hard sometimes to forgive somebody who's been really mean, nasty to you? Or said something to you that you didn't like? Or took something that you wanted and they got it first? Is it hard to forgive them? Is it hard for reconciliation? I wonder. Think about that, and we'll talk about it some more on Sunday too, and when we have Sunday school. Reconciliation, and what does that mean? And how do you have reconciliation in your life? We'll talk about that. But before we go, let's say our prayer. Dear God, thank you for the story of Joseph and how he believed that you had a plan for him. And we see, as what the story goes, the plan unfolding and the plan that you had for Joseph. And we thank you for that. And all of God's people say, amen.